On tonight's episode of Andy Ari on 3, presented by BetMGM, Texas A&M wins a thriller in South Bend. Is this the year the Aggies finally get over the hump? Is this the year they do it? Also, I have a massive apology for everybody because I might have overhyped a certain quarterback throughout the offseason. I might have listed him number one on my list of quarterbacks throughout the country. And he might have thrown 5 interceptions against LSU tonight. And I'm sorry about that. We'll also talk Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia, who I will never, ever pick against again. We'll also talk Georgia's crazy win in Knoxville. Ole Miss outlasting Arkansas. We got a ton. It's going to be quite a show. This might be a 4-hour show. We'll talk to you right after this. We are presented by BetMGM, and if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use the bonus code CFB as in college football, and you'll get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app, and you sign up using the bonus code CFB. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use the bonus code CFB when you sign up. And if you've already signed up, they've got some goodies for you this week. So Friday and Saturday, September 12th and September 13th, got the college football parlay boost token. No matter where the college football action is, there's nothing like getting in the game and leveling up your next parlay. Use this parlay boost token to boost your potential payout from a winning college football parlay. Also, Friday and Saturday, got a college football odds boost token. It's time to zero in on every snap. Activate your odds boost token on any college football bet, and you'll receive a bigger payout if your bet wins. Good luck this weekend. You can fade me. You can follow me. You can fade Ari. You can follow Ari. Last week, you should have followed me. Should have faded Ari. Does it flip this week? We'll find out. But make this college football season 1 for the history books. Make it legendary with BetMGM. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. U.S. promotional offers are not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona. Call 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. Call 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa or 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only, subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use the bonus code CFB and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. Welcome to Andy Ari on 3, presented by BetMGM. And oh my God, Marcel Reed hit that pass. Ari, down to their last play, Texas A&M was about to Aggie again. They were about to Aggie like nobody's ever Aggied before. Guess what? They pulled it off.
Andy, I gotta tell you, even after they scored, I had this feeling in my lower back that they were gonna botch their extra point somehow. Because it just
Notre Dame did.
Yeah, because it's that would be the most A&M thing in the history of A&M. But I gotta say,
the other team botches his extra point to allow you to win, and then you botch your own, and it goes to overtime and you lose. Yes, they didn't do it though.
I gotta say, the fact that A&M was on the opposite side of a crippling mistake, and then they took advantage of it, ran all the way down the field and scored on the final play, even with the penalties in the red zone, to score on that touchdown on 4th down with 12 seconds left. Marcel Reed with that beautiful catch and pass into traffic. Is there a fan base? And we're going to talk a lot about emotions tonight because I think it was a very emotional day, Andy. I think it was. I like feelings. I think it was a very emotional day. Is there a single fan base in all of college football that's been through more hell? When you think about and maybe there have been teams that have been bad for longer periods of time, but teams that have
inexplicably never good is Texas A&M. Yes.
in relation to expectation too, Andy. Like that's the thing.
Right.
It's like there are teams that lose weird ways all the time. Like Nebraska went through it pretty good, there for a few years. But like A&M is actually the only team with a national championship ceiling that just can't get out of its own way. And I think that, we can jab them a little bit right now in the face of, we're trying to figure out what Mike Elko's program is going to look like. They're still only a few years away from, moving on from Jimbo Fisher and trying to find itself. And, I think we admittedly said in the offseason that this was one of the harder teams to peg. And you look at what they've done, the first 2 games mean nothing. And then you go on the road and pay back Notre Dame for what happened last year. And you get off to a 3-0 start. Now they got Auburn here in a few weeks. Man, enjoy it, Aggies. Enjoy it. Whoop. Yeah, whoop, 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 whoop.
Also, if I had told you this morning that Tyler Buckner would have a major impact on one of the games we watched tonight, what would you have said?
Somebody got injured, but at the same time, like that really sucks, dude. Like that guy has also been, through hell and back and all around.
Oh, and they kept panning back to him. The camera found him everywhere he went. It's so bad. It's so bad.
The thing that is maybe not what A&M fans want to hear, but the reality is the result of this game is far more impactful, I think, for Notre Dame than it is for A&M, because A&M just added a quality win, but they're also going to have to traverse a very difficult schedule. I mean, like 2 weeks from now, they're playing Auburn, and Auburn's a very good football team.
Right.
So, Auburn, then Florida, we'll get to that. LSU, Mizzou looks really awesome. I've got Bro Perbula mania going on. You got Texas to end the year, South Carolina. I mean, they have a manageable schedule for the SEC. I don't see any Georgia. I don't see any Alabama. I don't see any Tennessee. Actually, I think that they might have actually just put themselves in a really good position for playoff contention. But like Notre Dame, for me, like I have a hard time picturing them getting back into the playoff. Now, 10-2, maybe they'll still do it, but there's not a lot of potential there. That they could not start the season 0-2. We said all offseason you got to be 1-1. They score a touchdown late. Jeremiah Love barrels it in, and then Tyler Buckner drops a snap on an extra point, and that's it. I don't know. But Notre Dame, think about where they were in January to where they are now. That's a pretty big difference. I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, you look at the rest of the schedule, you really need some of those teams to be good. Like Arkansas looked pretty good offensively against Ole Miss. They didn't look good defensively. NC State's still undefeated after squeaking one out against Wake on Thursday night. USC could be
saving grace. I think
USC could be really good. If Navy has another good season, would help. But it may not be enough. They because like Miami went 10-2 last year with a schedule that looked kind of like that as far as their wins, and it wasn't enough. So we'll see what happens with them. But for Texas A&M, this is one of those games that it felt like they didn't win it because I don't know, like when they beat Alabama in College Station a few years ago, that didn't feel like a getting over the hump moment because they'd already lost some games at that point. In the Sumlin years, they would go undefeated for a while, but they really wouldn't play anybody, and then they'd lose to somebody the first time they really played somebody. Like this feels like a different moment, and also different kind of team. Not what we expected, because if I had told you that these teams would combine for 81 points, you'd have said I was insane. Like,
well, yeah, no, that was a lot of points. The thing that I think we need to start acknowledging is that A&M's got some dudes at receiver, and they've had
Craver and Casey's Concepcion were worth every freaking penny. Everyone.
And Marcel Reed is a good enough passer to get them the ball. I know there was some question about how good he was or what we were supposed to anticipate from him. A lot of people thought that maybe he hadn't gotten enough offseason attention. That was a pretty good way to, force your way into the conversation. And A&M's offense, that's not a team that we're used to seeing light up scoreboards. When they have in the past, it's been more of a physical run the ball down someone's throat type situation, but they were throwing the ball over the yard, and for them to score on 4th and goal, were they at the 12-yard line on 4th and goal and to get a touchdown on that, like through the air? I thought they were cooked. And they weren't. So that was a really impressive showing. And I think that A&M, I think that we're going to talk about this tonight at some point, but there isn't a team in the SEC that is head and shoulders better than everybody else. You have a lot of very good teams, and I think that what is actually going to happen here, Andy, is that a lot of teams are going to lose games that, and it's going to be more like last year where you have 2 or 3 lost teams all bunched up at the top at the end of the year in the standings. But if you are a team right now in the middle of September who's in the SEC and hasn't lost yet, has shown some flashes of being very good, there isn't really a team on the schedule that you look at and go, man, we cannot beat them. And for Texas A&M, the only one that they have circled, when they always have circled, is Texas. But they don't have, like I said, they don't have Alabama. They don't have Georgia. They don't have Tennessee. Who else are they missing? They have LSU and Texas. Yep. But if they have Notre Dame and Notre Dame is 10-2 and they lose 2 games to Texas and LSU at the end of the year, that's a playoff team. Yeah,
nobody's going to be worried about that. Now, Auburn I would worry about, but hey, Auburn's got to go play Oklahoma next week. So we'll learn a lot more about them next week. Ari, let's talk about another team that's on Texas A&M's schedule. This is the part most of the people are in the chat for. This is the part they're waiting for. Mm-hmm. Ari, who does Texas A&M play on October 11th?
October 11th. Oh, Florida. Okay. Yeah.
So let's do it. Let's get into the DJ Lagway part. And by the way, if you're watching on Twitter, this is the part where you join us on YouTube, because you can get in the chat and you can heckle us in real time. You can heckle us live. We deserve this. We deserve all of this. Yeah. Whatever you have, let it out. We deserve this.
Yeah.
I'm the one who put DJ Lagway number 1 on his list of quarterbacks, not for the SEC, not for the state of Florida, not for Alachua County, but for the entire country. And for that, I apologize.
Andy, I failed all too. Of you. I did
Ari
too.
Did it
My
too.
list. I saw your graphic floating around Twitter on On3's off-season quarterback rankings, and I got to tell you, man, mine looks just as bad as yours. And we both have Lagway number 1. I think I had Arch higher than you. And this is a super chat here from Sailor Joe. I mean, he basically just outlined the entire show, but I just wanted to say I appreciate you for being here, Sailor, and thanks for supporting the show. Sark and Arch, Lagway, Napier, we're going to get through all this stuff, I promise.
Yeah.
Buddy, it was a bad day to be Ari in the quarterback rankings section, because I got to say, DJ Lagway was pressing like hell in that game. He was pressing. He was forcing things. He was trying to make something happen because he didn't want to be the reason his team lost. And
then he was the reason his team lost because of that.
Yes. But I can understand how a player who's making his first road start in the SEC could press and look bad. And I don't want to hop over. Let's stay with Florida, but I just want you guys to know that we have a Arch Manning discussion right around the corner that I'm not going to be absolved from. So, okay, let's stick with this. They threw 5 picks, Andy, and were in game the entire game. They could have won that game.
There's a conversation to be had of, are we sure LSU's any good too? But they were very much in the game. When Garrett Nussmeier threw, I don't know if he was trying to throw a dumber interception than the 4 that DJ Lagway had already thrown, but it was close. And so Florida gets the ball back. They're down 10. Now, I'm not sure Billy Napier knew they were down 10, or maybe he didn't know that you can't score 10 on one possession, because they were moving at a very deliberate pace. And then DJ just, again, throws it up for grabs. Interception number 5. I know that there have been quarterbacks who have thrown more than 5 interceptions in a game. I cannot remember them. I think Kyle McCord had a disaster game like that against Pitt on a weeknight last year. That one sticks out.
2 or 3 of them were pick 6s for McCord. But it happens.
But this was just horrific, because Florida's defense played well enough for Florida to win the game, despite losing Caleb Banks in the game, who they'd just gotten back. Florida probably could have run the ball, grinded some things out, maybe kicked another field goal. Jaden Baugh just grinds it out on the ground, and Florida might have a chance to win a game, I don't know, 12-10 or something like that. But that was just horrific. Every bit of that. And, this is one of those things where probably 5 years ago, I am not as hard on the player as I am on the coach. But the player's very well paid in this case. Like, he gets all of it too. And I will blame myself for drinking the Kool-Aid, for watching him against LSU and Ole Miss last year and thinking, okay, this guy is ready to make the biggest leap of all leaps. He has a special. And the thing is, you even saw it tonight. Like, the touchdown pass to Aiden Mizell is one of those throws that not many human beings can make. And it's like, okay,
I was going to tell you,
that's why
Andy,
he's special.
There were the thing that's so frustrating about this is if you were watching the game, and I watched every snap of this game, there were moments where he made passes. There was one pass to Vernell Brown too in the end zone for a touchdown. I think the only touchdown that they had.
No, that was Aiden Mizell. That was the touchdown.
Aiden Mizell. Okay.
Yeah.
There were a few passes on the sideline then to Vernell Brown too. All I'm saying is you see he's a big kid. He's got a huge arm. He, I think, is pretty good at escapability.
Moves pretty well. He's not lightning fast, but he moves well.
And you see the elements, even in a horrific performance, as to why we could have made that leap. Now, there's no excuse. I think that I don't know, like it's week 3, but I think that it's fair to say that he will not be the best quarterback in college football this year.
Yeah, I think it's very safe to say that.
And maybe this is a lesson for next offseason when we're ranking players who have only played 5 total games in their career. I don't know. But the thing that you have to understand about our lists, Andy, and I think from a good faith perspective, you while saying wrong and apologizing for being wrong and acknowledging that a lot of people in the chat that were mad at us in the summer were right. Like, our job is to try to use the information that we have to project forward on what things will look like in the regular season. And all the elements that DJ Lagway had last year, the jaw-dropping situations, the plays, the escapability, the arm talent, everything that he showed adds up to this guy's a first-round draft pick. And I'm not going to sit here now and say that that's not going to happen. I think that there's a very high likelihood that he will still be a first-round draft pick given his just insane physical measurables if he can stay healthy. But maybe we should have given more credence to A, he's young, B, he's missed a lot of time with injury, C, fall camp at the time that we ranked it, we didn't know that he was going to be limited or injured a little bit at the beginning of it. He just hasn't played enough football yet. So I feel like we are wrong, but I don't want to give up on the potential of that happening. Now, whether that's at Florida next year or somewhere else, we don't know.
Okay, we have to talk about that part of it too.
Yeah.
Because I will say, I think the Florida fan base was sort of headed this way after all of the offseason drama and then the USF loss. I think they're there tonight because all last season it was, if you fire Billy Napier, what about DJ Lagway? What happens? He leaves. Do you not want to keep DJ Lagway? Now, I think most Florida fans would go, if you fire I'm saying DJ Napier. I'm now combining the two people. If you fire Billy Napier, if you fire Billy Napier, will he take DJ Lagway with him? Like, will he just leave with him? Because they're ready for Tramel Jones. Like, they're already ready. Whether that's fair or not, they're ready.
I think the frustrating.
And they got to play Miami, which beat the living snot out of the USF team that won in the Swamp last week.
Yeah. We also picked Florida plus 9.5 coming into the week. And by the way, right side the whole way. Like, it didn't hit. Didn't hit right side the whole way. Who did predict that correctly though? What do you mean?
Who has 2 thumbs and predicted that correctly? This guy.
Oh, did you lay the points? Oh, I thought you took Florida too.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I laid the points.
Oh, it looks like I had another disaster scenario of losing by the hook. It's going to be great. Wow. I didn't see that coming. I thought that the game actually looked a lot like I thought it would. Low scoring, competitive, hard hitting.
When it was 2010 and Nussmeier hits Bauer Sharp over the middle, and I think they were about to go up 27-10 or 23-10, I was like, I am so safe here. And then Nussmeier throws that pick, and I'm like, Florida is going to backdoor cover this. Because again, Billy Napier was going so slowly that there was no way they could score twice, but I knew they were going to score once and screw up the cover. I knew it.
I thought the back door was open the entire second half. I hit it live 10.5 in the middle of the game, so I got lucky because they shouldn't have lost by only 10, especially on that last drive. Cormani McLean deserves like a fruit basket from me for making that tackle on Caden Durham there on the last play.
Yeah.
It still doesn't matter. Like, that was bad. That was bad, and now it's like it was bad enough where we're not talking about Billy Napier, Andy.
But we should be, because it's all part of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Lagway threw 5 interceptions because Billy Napier didn't prepare him adequately.
Yeah. I mean, they're
Billy Napier called the plays on which he threw the interceptions.
And
so
Billy Napier also
Billy wants to throw him. I don't think Billy would throw him under the bus. I don't think he's going to do that. I think Billy will go down with the ship. And I think, like I said last week, the schedule will take care of it. It will answer all of your questions. They are going to Miami next week. What do you think is going to happen? We'll get into the Texas part of it later, because that's a whole different conversation. But they're going to Miami next week, where Carson Beck does look awesome.
Andy, the A&M game's on the road.
Well, we're not even going there yet. We're not even talking about that yet.
But the A&M game just got a lot harder.
The A&M game was always harder. The A&M game was the one I said when I thought they were going to win some of these games, that they were certainly going to lose the A&M game because of where it sits on the schedule.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now the question is, are they going to be 1-4 going into the A&M game?
Quite possibly.
Yeah. There's an open date between Miami and Texas, in case you're wondering. There's another open date between Mississippi State and Georgia, in case you're wondering. If you're wondering who the interim would be if Florida does fire Billy Napier, no one knows. There's not that person on the staff. It is
maybe they
possible.
can bring Biff Poggi in.
Hey, Sharon's going to be off suspension after the Nebraska game. Biff Poggi. Well, you've heard my theory, right? Like, what I think should happen with interim coaching.
I don't recall it off the top of my head.
I think Ed Orgeron should present him, and I've actually presented this to Ed Orgeron's agent. He should present himself as the nation's interim coach. If you fire your coach and there's not an obvious interim on your staff, you hire Ed Orgeron and you're like, Ed, you're going to be here for 2 months. We know you'll win some games you're not supposed to. We know you'll get everybody fired up. You're coming in bang that one heartbeat drum. You're not going to get the permanent job. We're going to say that up front. We're going to tell you that up front. But we're going to give you $3 million to coach the last 2.5 months of this season. Who says no other than Ed Orgeron, who will say no? But who else?
I would do it if I were him. It's like bar rescue, but with football programs. Except you don't get
Ed Orgeron is John Taffer.
Idiot sandwich. Wait, is that what? That's Hell's Kitchen.
You got to clean
the same. Yeah.
I can't do his accent, but I'm just imagining him telling people to clean their tap lines. So
that is a great theory, and I think he would be really good at it. I think Biff Poggi would be very good at it too, because I think people in Ann Arbor are like, we love this guy today.
Listen, in Gainesville, you can go sleeveless until mid-November. Biff would be thrilled.
They have. I know we're spending a lot of time on Florida, but do they have anything to gain by doing this in the middle of the season?
No, but what you could do if you want your fans to feel like you are making a change and things are happening, you just do what Florida did with Ron Zook and with Will Muschamp, or what LSU did with Ed Orgeron. And when you fire them, you say, "Could you please coach the rest of the season? We'll keep paying you full amount, and then we'll go buy out."
Yeah. Yeah, he's done.
I would think so. Again, he could go on a miracle run. They could go 10-2, but I don't think that's going to happen. All right, let's talk a little bit about LSU, because I don't know that there's a lot of LSU fans. I'm sure they're happy with the win. I don't think they're optimistic after the win. I don't think they're feeling that great, because let's face it, Florida's quarterback kept throwing them the ball, and that is why they won. But if they played a little more competently prepared and staffed team, they probably would have struggled.
Yeah. I'm kind of like torn on LSU. Obviously, the Clemson win has not aged well. Obviously, this Florida team turned the ball over 5 times and came in wounded. But I think that the 1-2 punch of those 2 games, and we went to one and we watched the other, like that wasn't an easy game. Like I think Florida played like Florida played
like a talented team that was desperate. So it was not an easy game for LSU. And I will say LSU's defense was awesome in this game. The defense was so let's not completely say Lagway is all at fault for the interceptions. LSU did help create them, and that defense is exceptional. So I think LSU can be a playoff team. I think it's really going to come down to a couple games. There's a couple toss-up games that they just have to win. So I'm excited to see where they go from here.
Yeah,
they got Ole Miss on the Ole Miss game on September 27th in Oxford should be fascinating, because if you watched Ole Miss Arkansas tonight or Ole Miss Kentucky last week, Ole Miss's defense ain't great. Whatever's ailing LSU's offense, going to be cured in that game. But Ole Miss's offense, regardless of who's playing quarterback, probably is going to be pretty tough.
Yeah. Listen, you put yourself back into an LSU fan's shoes in early August, and you tell them you're going to be 3-0, and it might not age well.
They're over the moon. Like they're elated. Yeah.
And they've got a Passover game next week against Southeastern Louisiana, and then Ole Miss and South Carolina. If you believe that they should be number 1, or you believe that they should be a top 5 team, as we always put on the show, like the results are going to bear out. I don't know how much we have to spend time trying to like sift through the context clues when actual games that will determine things are coming up like in the next few weeks. I think that they should be happy with what they did. I think Garrett Nussmeier played an off game, but I think he's better than what he showed and what he put on tape tonight. I think their defense is actually legitimately good, and given what they've lived through the last 3 years, that's a nice breath of fresh air. I think if you're an LSU fan, you should probably feel pretty good about the way things went. And you also have to admit, too, that Florida might turn out to be a 5 or 6 loss team, but they played and took a pretty hard punch from a team that was desperate to win tonight. And, really we're never in danger of losing. So, the spread was 9.5. They covered it. SEC game at home, tough environment. I don't know.
I mean, the spread was lower when the game started. It was 9.5 when we picked it Monday.
Yeah. They covered the harder spread and the easier spread. I think that was a pretty good win for them, and they should feel pretty good about it.
Can we continue the apology tour now?
Sure. Can we go? Are we?
Let us move to Columbia, South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
I'm never picking against Diego Pavia again. Never. His numbers aren't even that great. It doesn't matter. Remember how I said this game was going to resemble the Vandy, South Carolina game last year? I was right. Mm-hmm. Just wrong about which team would win it. Vanderbilt thumped South Carolina. They knocked Lenora Sellers out of this game. It would not have mattered if they hadn't. They might not have won by as much, but they were still going to win.
Yeah. Do we know how serious that injury was or what it is?
Look, I don't know if it was a concussion. It was on a hit that the guy was flagged for targeting and ejected. So,
yeah. So the good news for South Carolina, I guess, if you're looking for some good news, is that he'll probably be back here in the next week or so, if I had to guess, because it looked like
Ari.
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't like a lower body injury, and it looked like a pretty just like a
he was hit in the head.
But yeah, dude, Vanderbilt, man,
national champs. We can stop laughing at them now for saying that. Like, they're going to start this season. They lost to Georgia State last year, so this is a revenge game for them. They could be 4-0 to start this season. And listen, if you can go into that environment, Williams-Brice Stadium at night against a very talented team and dominate them like that, I'm not counting Vandy out of any game they play.
Mm-mm.
And they go Georgia State, Utah State, Alabama.
On the road.
On the road.
Which begins a 5-game stretch against Alabama, LSU, Missouri, Texas, and Auburn. So I'm not going to
scared. Not going to be a hard time picking against Diego on any of those, although I probably will.
Yeah, I'm not going to have. They are really, really good, and they're a bona fide top 25 team, though.
Diego Pavia does not care about your Darude, Kevin L. says. That's right. Sandstorm does not affect Diego Pavia.
Yeah. The numbers 18 to 25, 2 touchdowns, 177 yards. Doesn't jump off the page, but if you watch the game, his performance jumped off the page. What is it about him? Yeah.
It was incredible. So
he's the perfect, so that's the thing. And I was waiting to get to this game, Andy, because we have an apology tour going around because, I'm not apologizing for putting Lenore Sellers on the list yet. He got injured, and we didn't get to see him play.
Right.
But the thing that we need to acknowledge here is that, does a player like Diego Pavia, who probably isn't going to be a first or second day pick in the NFL draft, make lists like this in the future for just being a dog? Haynes King made my list. I feel pretty good about that today.
Haynes King was awesome against Clemson. Awesome.
But I feel like Diego Pavia, he plays differently than Haynes King does. Haynes King's more of a battering ram than he is. But in terms of dog college quarterback, Diego Pavia and Haynes King can stand shoulder to shoulder and flip off the rest of the entire sport because nobody in the sport plays like them. And, I get all excited about how far can you throw the football and how athletic are you? And that's why I bought so much stock in Lenore Sellers and DJ Lagway. It's dude, what about just dogs? Why don't we just pick dogs? And maybe that's where we messed up because we picked on potential and we picked on measurables, but we didn't pick dogs.
Marcel Reed may be a dog.
Yeah.
I think Marcel Reed is pretty quickly proving himself to be a dog. Who's a dog today was Gunnar Stockton. And Joey I think Joey Aguilar is too.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Carson Beck. You can go down the list right now. This would be a good midweek episode too, where we just go dog or not. But you look at is Bo Prabula a dog? I don't even know if that's on our list of shows.
Very well could be. Devin Dampier,
dog.
Yeah. Yeah,
Who cares where they're going to get drafted? It's got nothing to do with us. I don't give a crap where anybody's drafted. We're talking about college ball here.
Yeah. Ty Simpson looked like a dog today.
Is Arch Manning a dog?
All right, good. I'm glad you got to our next topic. Very nice. Arch Manning. I saw somebody in the chat say it's getting late. Get to the Arch part. We're at the Arch part now. All right, the apology tour continues. We are so sorry for pumping up Arch Manning all offseason. It's not our fault he's in the commercials, but it is our fault that we talked about him all offseason because let's be fair. When Arch Manning appears in a headline, people click on it. Ari, they booed him today. The Texas fans booed Arch Manning today in the UTEP game.
Man, you played a part in hyping him up this year. I am going to prison for what I said.
I didn't want to distinguish between the two of us because we both did overhype him. But you did say, how could he possibly be bad? Well, this is how.
Andy, I couldn't have seen this coming from a million miles away.
Oh, we know.
And I'm not even going to pretend like I'm not disturbed. But I think I am standing with Texas fans here. You're telling me that there's a Texas fan out there that thought that this was possible? Come on. Did you think this was possible? I don't care if he isn't. I don't even care if he isn't as good as Quinn Ewers. He got out-dueled in passing in the first half by Malachi Nelson at home. I wouldn't even think that was possible for Texas's third stringer. So,
it might not be possible for Texas's third stringer, and that's the question.
So,
now is he hurt?
So here's the thing I don't understand, and I don't remember this.
Joseph in the chat. I think Arch just needed to poop the whole game.
It looked like he did. So it looked like he pooped, not that he had to. The lengths of which, I feel like this game is happening because I said what I said in the offseason. Like these are the stat padding games. I could be wrong, and he could still throw for 350 yards against UTEP.
Right.
And the thing I don't understand is we watched him play last year, and I've seen him throw in person. Why is his throwing motion off?
I don't know.
Like mechanically,
apparently, Arch told us last year he wasn't as good as we were hyping him up to be. So don't blame him, blame us.
Dude. Yeah. The media is the enemy.
Steven San Antonio's already moved on. He's chanting for Diabell.
Dude, this is one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. I'm serious. It's bizarre. I don't even know what to say.
I don't even know. And while we're lumping in things with Arch, the red zone stuff that we always talk about with Sark, that Steven San Antonio always brings up, was horrendous today against UTEP. Like, if they had played an even slightly, like if they played an SEC team with a pulse today, they would have lost.
Are they? I dropped them out of my top 10. Are they? This is my national championship favorite. I picked them to win the national title. Like, I don't even understand how I would begin to explain this. And it's like media used Arch Manning in the headline to get more clicks. And
yes, we did. Blah, blah. Agreed. Guilty as charged.
Andy, I know that we have a show to do. I think that both of us pride ourselves on talking about what people are interested in. So we did talk about him a lot because people are interested in him. I did not formulate my opinion because it would be good for the show. And I never would.
It actually would have been better for the show if you'd said he's going to stink, because we'd have gotten just crushed in the offseason, and then you could have done victory laps.
You know, I wish I would have done that in hindsight. But when you think about the fact that Quinn Ewers was not welcome back, and the fact that this kid is intangibly, unquestionably gifted with where he comes from, his size, his speed, his arm strength, all the things that are circumstantial evidence. How is it possible that he stinks? Now, I don't know that he does. Again, he's still very young.
Maybe he's hurt. Maybe he really is hurt. And Sark is
Andy
with the I don't take pictures of you on the toilet stuff, just doing a little hey look over there.
That was garbage. He stunk. There's nothing else to it. Like the Ohio State game, fine. You're on the road playing against maybe the best defense in the country. You get off to a bad start. You throw some great throws in the second half. You feel good about the way they ended that. And hey, he's going to get some get-right games. How do you have 60 yards passing against UTEP in an entire half? How? People are looking for an explanation for me. I don't have one, dude. I just don't.
Well, it gets harder after Sam Houston State. Florida, Oklahoma, Kentucky. At least Texas has pretty much the easiest schedule in the SEC. Because then it would be a lot worse. Imagine if they had to play Oklahoma's schedule.
So we have a lot of Texas fans who listen to the show. It's one of the largest fan bases in the country. We've spoken a lot to them in the offseason. Instead of piling on Arch, I already said sorry. I think you said sorry. Let's go to the next thing. How much has your thought process about Texas, who they are and what they can accomplish this year changed, and like what's your outlook right now about that team?
Well, again, the schedule is helpful. They don't have to play Oklahoma's schedule or Florida's schedule or Wisconsin's schedule or any of those schedules that are just absolutely brutal. But they do have to go to Georgia. They have to play Texas A&M. They go to Florida, and we'll see. God only knows what Florida's going to be, because they play Miami and then they have an open date. But I mean, based on what we saw today, the Florida-Texas game feels like a toss-up. It feels like the quarterbacks are just going to be throwing the ball, at or near the other team the entire time.
I think people throw the term broken around a lot. so I don't want to do that because I think broken means it's like hard to fix. Like Texas is somewhere in like a body shop getting repaired right now, right? And you hope that the work can be done.
Yeah,
There's
I
a
mean, look,
crack on
they
my
have a
boat.
loss at Ohio State. There's no shame in that.
This was my national championship pick. They have 4 players that you could put in the top 15 in total player in top players in the country. Their running backs are good. Their offensive line is supposedly good. I have no explanation for this. It's like dumbfounding to me. Like I thought, and I still don't. I thought this was a genuine human thought that it would be impossible for him to not at least be productive.
Now, I'm glad I at least pushed back on that in real time. I was like, what if he's just bad? And you're like, that's not possible.
I respect Steve Sarkisian enough as a coach and what he's built at Texas to err to him on his decision making on that.
But
You're telling me that
maybe he couldn't. Maybe he had to play him at this point.
Let me ask you this. We have to talk about this, the reality of this. We're talking about the most hyped prospect of all time. If Steve Sarkisian, the coach, knew he stunk in practice, do you think I don't think that he would have had to play him.
Probably not. It is Texas. You can always find another quarterback.
And if he, are you just married to somebody? Like, do you have to have him? Do they paint themselves?
Well, I mean, we just got through talking about DJ Lagway and Billy Napier, so the answer there was yes.
Andy, I'm going to admit this. I don't even know who their backup quarterback is.
That is how much oxygen, because you always know, it's interesting because you do always, the backup quarterback at Texas is usually a fairly household name. So they've got Matthew Caldwell, who has played at Troy and Gardner-Webb and Jacksonville State.
And Terry Owens, I know he was the 3-star they got. But
Trey Owens.
Trey Owens. Sorry. Terry Bussey's kickoff return is still in my head. But you want to talk about a holistic, and this might be a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday discussion of what does a coach do if the most hyped prospect in the history of high school football recruiting comes to your school, is in Warby Parker commercials, is a Manning, and you bench that guy? What do you do?
It's interesting because I'm not going to name any names, but I was involved in a conversation with some people earlier this week, and somebody brought up the idea, and this was we were talking about Florida, and a person brought up the idea that maybe Florida should throw Tramel Jones in there instead of DJ Lagway if Lagway's not performing up to snuff, either for a series or just to kind of change things up. And this person was laughed at. And I was one of the people doing the laughing. I'm like, you can't do that. You're paying DJ Lagway all this money. You just can't do that. Guess what? If they had gone to Tramel Jones at halftime of the LSU game, they might have had a much better chance to win the game. So just because Arch Manning is Arch Manning and his last name is Manning, and other recruits didn't necessarily want to come play for you because they assumed Arch Manning was taking the starting spot for 2 years, and his uncles are Eli and Peyton, and his grandfather's Archie, and all of the above, and he's in Warby Parker and Verori commercials, all the above. It doesn't mean he's necessarily the best player for your team right now. And that may be a decision that Steve Sarkisian has to analyze. I don't know if he has to do it yet. They're playing Sam Houston State next. I'm assuming they're going to win that game. They'll go to Florida. And maybe he plays well there. But I tell you what, if he doesn't play well against Florida, you got Red River the following week. Oklahoma has a quarterback. Oklahoma went out and got a dude in John Mateer. You have to figure that out.
Are we overcorrecting right now?
Yes, we are. 100%, because that's what we do on shows.
Okay. Because we're talking about the backup.
Am I wrong? Well, actually, I will say once again, because this is the night of Andy apologizing. I don't want to get too deep into my process or logic, but this is the night of me apologizing, and I laughed in this conversation with this person, who I should apologize to now, when they were suggesting that Tramel Jones should go in for DJ Lagway, because again, Tramel Jones would have given them a better chance to win against LSU. There may come a point where Steve Sarkisian has to have the honest conversation with himself. Do we have a better chance to win with a different quarterback? Now, maybe Arch will play well, and he never has to ask himself that question. Again, he has a few chances to do it. But it is a question that Sark may have to ask. Now, while we're on the subject of go ahead.
You're the last thing I want to say, because we didn't talk about this enough, and I think I just want to say it just to put it out there. Texas fans are convinced that he's hurt in some regard. Okay. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I buy that because they were running him on 4th down. But it's the only thing that you can come up with if you're a Texas fan or me to rationalize or to try to explain how bad that was. That wasn't just a sleepy. That was he had 9 incompletions in a row.
Yeah.
It's like I'm
UTEP.
not trying to freak out. I'm not trying to freak out. And I know I'm a prisoner of the moment. It's going to be written on my epitaph. Buddy, there's no explanation for that. I'm sorry. There just isn't. Okay.
While we're on the subject of overcorrecting, did we perhaps overcorrect a little on Alabama when they lost to Florida State? Because, my God, they looked great against Wisconsin. And Ty Simpson looked incredible.
Yeah, let's do a 45-minute breakdown on what's wrong with Wisconsin. Let's skip this live until we do our videos tomorrow. So, yeah, this is another context battle for me because you beat the crap out of Wisconsin, and God, that was ugly. Way uglier than the score.
It could have been a lot worse than the score.
How much of that is Wisconsin just being hopeless right now? And how much of that is Alabama finding itself? Now, the thing I will say is Kalen DeBoer was fired up on the sideline during that game. I don't know if you saw the clips.
I did.
He expressed himself in an emotional way more than we had seen at any point last year. And I wonder if a coach with his back against the wall in year 2 at Bama can find the emotion that Bama did not play with in week 1. And the other context clue that's missing, if we're trying to figure out how susceptible Alabama is to losing multiple times again, we need to figure out how good Florida State is. They did not play on Saturday. They played an overmatched opponent in week 2 and dropped 77 on them. They've got Miami coming up. They've got a few easy games. I think they got Virginia and another team they're going to be favored by 30 against. Mm-hmm. And then they have Miami. If Miami beats Florida, we've got a nice little round robin of Florida, big-time schools in Florida playing each other.
Correct.
But October 4th, that might be like a vintage my childhood Florida State Miami game.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But the thing that I'm having a hard time with Bama is not that they lost to Florida State. It was the way they looked in the game in which they lost. And I feel like that's not what they've looked like from a passion standpoint the last 2 weeks. And I hope for their sake and Alabama's sake and Kalen DeBoer's sake that they play with an edge for the rest of the year. And that doesn't mean they're going to go win the SEC now. That doesn't mean that they're fixed. But I think a large part of the reason why they lost to Florida State is because they were walking around with a 1,000-yard stare in their eyes.
Well, and I'll tell you right now, they're going to play with an edge against Georgia. They're going to come out fired up to play Georgia. And that's their next game. They're off until they play Georgia next week. Georgia's also off this week too. Alabama will be super fired up for that game. I'm not worried about that. And if they lose that game, okay, that's fine. It's to a really good team. It's Vanderbilt, Missouri, Tennessee. Those next 3. Those are the ones that I'm more curious about. Those are the ones I want to see. Do they show up with the same intensity that they've had the past 2 weeks? Because if they do, they're in good shape.
Yeah.
If they show up the way they showed up against Florida State, they'll lose at least one of those and maybe two of those.
We had a long video about Tennessee, and I don't know how much we're going to talk about Tennessee on this show. If you're interested in that,
we should. We need to talk about Tennessee, Georgia.
Okay. Tennessee earned my respect today. So that game is going to be tough. But if Alabama comes out and beats Georgia, that is not a shocking result to me.
No, because they're going to get up for that game. It will be their biggest game of the year. They got up for it last time, went up 28-0 against them, held on and won. Ryan Williams had that incredible game. Ryan Williams looked like the Ryan Williams who played against Georgia against Wisconsin today. He was awesome. That one jump cut, holy crap. I've never seen a dude fly by and like his ankles just departed from his body. And
he's their best player. He had 5 receptions for 165 yards and 2 scores today. Like, I feel like the entire country has been ganging up on him with the anxiety doll thing, and like he hasn't been performing well, and he got hurt.
Is it an anxiety doll? Is that what we're calling it?
That's what everybody's saying, whether it is or not.
When Dominic Easley played for Florida, he carried a freaking Chucky doll.
Do people?
You know why nobody made fun of him? Because he played really well.
You want to know something else? I don't know if you guys know this, but Travis Hunter, who won the Heisman last year, like carried around a stuffed wolf throughout his entire recruitment. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So like, but I'm not saying that you're not going to, this isn't Jason Whitlock show. Okay. Like that's not what we're doing here, but he has been piled on. And I wonder what kind of impact that has when your best players become the butt of jokes nationally. And if he could just get back to being who he is and who we know he is, I think that's a huge boost for Bama. And like seeing him torch Wisconsin today, I think is got to be the most exciting thing outside of also seeing Ty Simpson go 24 for 29 for 382 yards and 4 touchdowns. If you can get those two on the same page and you get Ty Simpson playing with confidence and your team plays passionately, there's nobody on their schedule they cannot beat, including Georgia.
It's going to be fun to watch. All right. We have a lot more games to get to.
We do.
While we're on the subject, I want to hit this one quick because this one may have an impact like tomorrow. I don't know how soon this happens, but it's happening.
Old Dominion
beat the snot out of Virginia Tech, and obviously Vanderbilt did it last week, but it's a little bit different because Vanderbilt's pretty good. And Old Dominion, not bad for a Group of 5 team, but 45 hung on the Hokies. And that's probably it for Brent Pry. I mean, 45-26. He may not get fired tomorrow, but he's not going to be back. And that was it. At least they only paid him $400,000 to come to Blacksburg and kick the crap out of him.
I do like to play the game of how much did you pay to have a opponent that you should be beating come to your stadium to beat you. And then I think there's going to be another element to this, which is how much money did you pay that opponent? And is it more than you paid your best player in NIL? I had that thought last night. Like, how much money did UCLA pay New Mexico to come to the Rose Bowl, and how much are they paying Nico?
I think it's pretty close in number because wasn't they paid New Mexico like $1.4 million?
I think it was 1.2 is what I saw.
Oh, 1.2. It could be probably the number is probably very, very close.
Yeah. But that was a UCLA might be the worst Power 4 team. Virginia Tech played like one of the worst teams in the Power 4 on Saturday. And the score I actually think was better than the game was. I didn't watch every snap of it. I was watching the play-by-play, and like Old Dominion just ran through them. So we'll be on high alert for that. Virginia Tech should not be what they are. They should be better than this. Brent Pry's a good guy. Feel for him, but it's not working there.
No. And this one's going to be probably the first. I mean, I don't think Florida's going to do it quite yet for the reasons that we talked about. but that one was very bad. All right. Where do we want to go from here?
Let's go to Tennessee. Let's go to Tennessee.
Do it. Let's do it. Okay, let's go to Knoxville. Georgia falls behind, comes back, falls behind, comes back, wins in overtime. And this two things about this game can be true. Georgia is not the Death Star of the SEC anymore. They're still really freaking good, and when their back's against the wall, they're very hard to beat.
Yeah. So, first of all, flowers to Georgia, right? A team that is the epitome of excellence in college football at the current time, but was also in a position where criticizing them was becoming easier.
Right.
Are they as good as they've been? Are they as capable as they've been? Is last year an indication of a trend? I don't know that I'm willing to say that all is good and nothing's going to happen to them this year on September 13th. But Tennessee played their asses off at home. They were up by 8 late. Gunnar Stockton drove them down the field. They tied the game. They got the 2. They pulled out the win. Like, that is just another, instance of Kirby Smart being great. And I think that if you're a Georgia fan, you probably have mixed feelings at times about the show because we don't talk about them as much as other teams because it's boring when you're excellent. And this is just another, who did I write about after the game? I didn't write about Georgia because Georgia winning isn't new. It's not sexy. It's not different. But I think that in this season, Georgia is going to lose. And I think that this game is going to age really well for them. And I think that they are a team that can make a run, not breaking any news here, in the postseason. And Gunnar Stockton, to me, proved that was his big test.
That fourth down throw to London Humphreys, holy crap.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
I thought that Gunnar Stockton was scrappy. And if you want to go back to the conversation that we had earlier in the show about dog, he played like a dog today. So, hats off to him. The most interesting takeaway from this game to me is Tennessee. Because if you remember correctly, I almost lost my guys, Vol Twitter, a month ago when we were tiering these teams.
And you're still sucking up to them now.
I'm not. If they would have gotten their asses kicked, they'd hear about it. Tennessee, to me, just got over a breakup in the most beautiful way. When you have a girlfriend and it doesn't go well for you, maybe speaking from personal experience, you get broken up with from a girl that you really like. You don't want to go see her find a cool guy and be happy and succeed. So Tennessee fans,
you wanted to put on 50 pounds and date a loser and okay.
Be broke. Yeah. You don't want, what is that like? Do you get broken up with and root for them? No. In Tennessee was a scorned lover. Okay. Tennessee now, as a result of being scorned, watched Nico Iamaleava at UCLA the last few weeks and have seen her gain weight. They have seen her, meet somebody who isn't right for them, or they got laid off at their job, or they're making less. Some of that's true. Some of that's analogy.
By the way, this reminds me of a girl I dated in college who broke up with me. I was heartbroken. Yeah. And I was talking to her, probably 9 months to a year after the breakup about, I don't even remember how we bumped into each other, or we may have been on the phone. No, it was on the phone. Had to be. Because she goes, yeah, I've gained 25 pounds. And I'm like, oh?
Hate to hear
I was like, oh? And then you could sense the optimism in my voice. And she goes, no, I didn't. The implication, I'm still super hot.
Yeah, I had a girlfriend back when I'm young. I'm not going to give the time frame because I don't want to. Who looked at my Instagram stories throughout, the years after. And she saw a few with my wife, Brittany. And that made me feel really good. But the point I'm going to make, though, is now, as a person who found my lovely wife, Brittany, and I live in a nice house and have a nice, beautiful daughter and my career, I don't care about this person anymore. I want her to go find happiness. Good for you. I hope it works out for you. I am so fulfilled in my own life.
I mean, Joey
that I don't even
Aguilar's
worry
dad
about
said
her.
it to Pete Nakos this week. He said, we know who won the trade. We know who won the breakup. Like,
So-
there's no question.
So while you might be fighting with your new girlfriend, Tennessee, or you're having a tough time tonight and you're heartbroken that you didn't pull the win off, this was what you needed. This is more important to you, Tennessee, than worrying about what Nico's doing on the West Coast. He's going to fly off into obscurity. He moved away. You have your new girlfriend, and you should be fulfilled and happy with your new lover.
Ari, the people are not that interested in what we think of Tennessee. They want to know what producer River thinks about Tennessee. Vol for life, River Bailey, who kind of looks like the Tennessee kicker who missed the field goal at the end of regulation.
Man. Oh, man.
I'm just saying. I'm sure your friends have mentioned it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's just psyched out, man. They showed him too much on TV. I thought the end of the game.
He and Tyler Buckner should talk.
Yeah. Yeah. But like the end of the game with the false start, right before you're trying to line it up, you still got 7 seconds. You don't line it up more. You just go kick it. I don't know. You still have time for one more play to line it up in the middle, kick it. But
then in overtime, he makes an almost identical kick.
Well,
It was closer, wasn't it?
At that point, like you're
2
so
yards.
deflated.
It was only
You're
2
so
yards
deflated.
closer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was
I
pretty much
didn't
the
put that
same thing.
together.
Same hash mark, same everything.
But River, now that you're up here,
Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
but this is real. You're
Yeah.
disappointed.
In the
But
moment,
as the
I
night,
was-
yeah, but now it's been 5 or 6 hours since they lost.
Yeah.
Okay. Buddy, are you not freaking psyched about what they could do this year
we
now?
can win every game on the schedule, baby.
That right there is why you don't care about your fat girlfriend on
You
the
can
West
go to
Coast.
Gainesville and win, River.
Can I say
That's
your
been
house?
done once in your life.
I don't
What he just
remember it.
did.
I don't remember it.
What he just did.
Yeah, Ron
the
Zook
reason-
was coaching.
You do not care about your fat girlfriend on the West Coast anymore.
But
That-
it's so fun to watch. Sorry.
Dude, it was hilarious because Tennessee was hitting deep balls that were underthrown for touchdowns, which is the
crazy.
exact opposite
Unreal.
of what was happening from last year. And I
Yep.
will say this. They got a pretty good draw in the SEC.
Mhm.
If Georgia's the big bad wolf, they basically had them beat. Now, it stinks that you lost, but it's not 2019 anymore. Single losses in the SEC don't exclude
it's
you.
not
2
the
losses in the
4-team era.
SEC.
It's not the
we're
4-team
back.
era where you're out in this.
Like,
you know,
I felt bad for Tennessee when they lost, and I felt
Mhm.
bad for myself too, for
Sure.
reasons I'm not going to get into. But if you're a Tennessee fan right now, like I posted my column that I wrote about your fat girlfriends on VolQuest, and
Mhm.
everyone's like, "Not now, Ari, and we're not in the time. We're mourning." But nobody died.
Oh, you got to give it a few hours. Tomorrow we'll be back. We'll be so back.
Nobody,
Optimism.
nobody died.
Yeah.
Nobody died.
Nobody died.
We're good.
We're still alive. We're still alive.
We're
with
alive.
playoffs. We're fine.
You
fine.
might win in Gainesville.
Fingers crossed.
Maybe.
and you
maybe.
got yourself a hot new girlfriend.
Yeah. What more could you want?
Is that a good analogy? I think it is.
A win? Maybe.
A win. Yeah, you could have gotten a win against Georgia if that guy had
Yeah.
made that kick. But other than that,
Poor Max.
it's all going well. River, thank you so much. Ari, I want to talk about somebody who did get a win. The Miami Hurricanes. What they did to Notre Dame looks more impressive in light of how much Notre Dame scored on Texas A&M, even in a loss. And then what USF did to Florida last week, you saw. They went to Miami, and Miami put the hammer down. 49-12. It was never close. Miami dominated them thoroughly. They looked great.
Dude, Miami's number 3 in my poll tonight. My poll doesn't matter, but I know that Florida lost in my poll. And I just want you to know Miami is awesome. And I know that people had some hard times with the television feed. Couldn't watch it. I watched a lot of it. They beat the crap out of USF. They beat the crap out of them. Now, Miami, I think, has Florida State and Florida on their schedule. That's their next 2 games. So we're going to find out a lot. But I think we found out enough to know that this is a top 5 team. Carson Beck looked awesome. Their defense played really well against a very dangerous quarterback. And they rolled over a team that we thought, and we still might think, is one of the 3 or 4 favorites from the group of 5 to make the playoff this year. A team that just beat Florida on the road.
Tulane's the favorite. You saw what they did to Duke.
I did, yeah. I was happy about that. For reasons I won't disclose. But like it is no, but still, they didn't beat a bad team 49-12. They beat a pretty good team 49-12 today.
It will be interesting seeing Florida go into Miami this week because, like, Florida, the loss to Miami was pretty psychologically damaging to them last year. But if Miami does this again and proves that it is a better team this year than last, that's going to be hard to swallow because Mario Cristobal and Billy Napier got hired on the same week. And Mario Cristobal has steadily improved them every year. And we thought they lost Cam Ward, the number 1 pick in the draft. They're going to take a step back. They've not taken any steps back. The defense is better than last year. The offense may not be as record-setting as last year, but it doesn't have to be because the defense is going to stop people.
Yes. Yeah. I've got a lot of nice things to say about Miami. And I think that between their win over Notre Dame and the win over USF, that warrants a top 3 ranking to me. And the eye test, the September 13th eye test. The good news is, if you disagree with me, or you're a Miami hater, or you don't think that they deserve to be there, we're going to find out quite a bit in the next 2 weeks. And buddy, I don't know about you, and I don't know that I like to do our travel talk. I've never been to Tallahassee. If they're undefeated, I would love to go to that game.
You want to go to that game? Let's go to that game.
I've never been there. And
it's
all I know,
lovely.
All I know about Tallahassee is there's a guy that's kind of overweight who reads books with his shirt off when they're losing by a lot. But I bet you that place gets pretty rowdy when they're winning.
Doak Campbell Stadium is an incredible environment when they're winning. So I think we could probably make that happen. It's one of those things where you don't want to see. I mean, you could come to my house and watch Arch Manning and DJ Lagway play. How about this? What if this happens? Because we don't know times of games yet. I don't know if this is possible because they give you kind of a baseline of where the SEC games might be. But if Florida Texas was at noon and Miami Florida State was at night, we could do them both.
How far away is Gainesville from Tallahassee in driving distance?
2 hours. 2 hours.
That would be something. I would really like to. I'm just going to put it on record. I would really like to go to that game, especially because
the Busy Bee along the way. The Busy Bee is like a poor man's Buc-ee's. We have Buc-ee's in Florida now, but not on that route. But when the Busy Bee got built, it was huge for the Floridians.
I'm a road trip gas station connoisseur, so I would love to experience the Busy Bee, and that would be a hell of a day.
Not possible, unfortunately. Texas, Florida will either be between 3:30 and 4:30 kickoff or between 6 and 8. Noon kickoff is off the table, unfortunately. So the double dip isn't happening. You and I would just go to Tallahassee and hang.
I would love to. Yeah, I don't know. I would love to be either of those places. I like Florida in late September too. So
maybe early October, but same thing.
Yeah, even better, closer to the winter.
But Miami, Florida State, a good Miami, Florida State game. There is little that tops a good Miami, Florida State game. When both teams are good, the hitting, the level of intensity,
the hatred,
it's going to be incredible. So
when's the last time they played in a game that would be as big as if they were both undefeated on October 4th?
I want to say there was probably one in the Jimbo. Remember, Miami had a couple good years, like in the Mark Richt era, and Florida State was still in the Jimbo era and still doing pretty well.
I mean, Clemson lost today, and we haven't even talked about that yet. Like, that could be for the ACC, like, pole position car.
It really could. It really could. And Well, we can talk about Clemson now because there's not much else to say other than Miami's awesome. We'll see them against Florida, and they might be able to continue to just be awesome. But Clemson, Georgia Tech, if you want a deeper discussion about this, we did a whole video on it in the afternoon. But again, I haven't apologized in a while, but it's about time. I'm sorry for overhyping Clemson all summer because that was wrong. They're not that good. Now, I don't think they stink. I think it's possible that Georgia Tech is very good and might be an ACC contender. But I love what Brent Key's done at Georgia Tech.
I had this thought today while watching this game, and I don't know if you're with me on this, but it's just going to be a lot harder in general to get off-season projections right.
Yes.
Moving forward. Because
the
last
rosters
summer
are going to change so much. And
I think last summer we weren't together yet for most of it. But I had a pretty good handle of the way that things were going to look. This year, I am getting blasted from every angle of being wrong. I have a Clemson ticket to win the national title. I thought Clemson
good luck with that.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not dead yet. But I also felt like they would have the best defensive line in college football. I think that a lot of people felt that Cade Klubnik was a surefire Heisman finalist. I saw today what everybody has seen from Clemson for the past 2 or 3 years. And I thought that they might not be as good as Ohio State or Georgia or Penn State or Oregon even. I didn't know that they would be identical to what they were last year. They've got better players. They've got better players. Bryant Wesco's a dog. Their offensive line's good. Their defensive line is great. Sammy Brown is great. Will Helt is great. Their defensive backs are good. What the hell? Honestly, if we're living in a world where analyzing the players on the team isn't good enough analysis.
But I think we are putting too much stock into returning production. The thing is now it's all about how do you take the talent that you have available to you and then put it together into a whole.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the interesting thing about returning talent or returning production from a team that wasn't very good is maybe it's not worth as much as returning production from a transfer that comes in. But I'm looking at the 2026 mock draft, the first one that came up for me in Google search just now.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Fox, so it's not some random person doing something. Number 3 overall pick, Peter Woods to the Tennessee Titans in this mock draft. The number 9 overall pick, defensive end, TJ Parker. The number 12 overall pick, Cade Klubnik. You got 3 players on Clemson's team that are projected 3 days ago in a mock draft from an NFL analyst to be taken off of Clemson's roster in the top 12. And they got their asses kicked by Georgia Tech today. So, am I stupid for buying NFL hype? Am I stupid for looking at their players and saying, hey, they've got a lot of returning production, but the NFL draft really likes these guys too. Peter Woods, I thought, was one of the 3 best players in college football coming into the year. And Georgia Tech ran up the middle over and over and over again with Haynes King with no regard for being stopped. It wasn't going to happen. When they got the ball back with a few minutes left after Clemson tied it, I would have bet anything in that moment that Georgia Tech was going to kick a game-winning field goal, and they did. And that's not the feeling you're supposed to have when you have that defensive line. Just not. If there's something off there, and I don't know if it's portal. I don't know if it's we can't put on our finger on what hasn't changed that needs to, but maybe we can put our finger on the fact that not enough has changed at Clemson. I don't know. I've got a hell of a lot of respect for Dabo Swinney and what he's built there. I think he's one of the 3 best coaches in college football in terms of accomplishment. Buddy, I've got no answers for you on this one either.
No, it's tough because they do have good players, objectively good players, and a lot of them. They should be better than Georgia Tech. But I will say Brent Key has done a phenomenal job there. He has created a culture where they are going to hit you in the mouth every time you play them. Haynes King's the perfect quarterback for them. It really was fun to watch. And you look at Georgia Tech, and that schedule says, you know what, this team may play for the ACC title. Find the ACC losses there. Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, Duke, Syracuse, NC State, BC, Pitt. Those are our last games.
Yeah.
Find the ACC losses there.
Nothing. I mean, they might lose one,
but
yeah. I mean, you could go lose to NC State or something on the road. That stuff like that happens. But in terms of projecting it, there's no obvious one. And then losing to Georgia doesn't even matter if they do.
No.
So, yeah, buddy. And I got people in the chat right now saying, "Oh yeah, they don't have 3 top 10 picks, 3 top." You know who Peter Woods, T.J. Parker, and Cade Klubnik are? Very highly regarded draft. I didn't just pull that out of my ass. That's
I don't think Cade Klubnik's going to be drafted that high, but
I don't either anymore.
I wouldn't be shocked if T.J. Parker was.
I did yesterday or last week. I'm not going to erase everything that everybody was talking. We're not the only ones who thought Cade Klubnik was going to be good this year.
Right.
If you want to put us on the stand for certain things, you can put me on the stand for some of my very strongly opinionated Arch Manning takes, or the fact that I put DJ Lagway number 1. Sure, I'll gladly, take the prison sentence for that. But I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh my God, we're so stupid for thinking Cade Klubnik was going to be good this year. Come on, everybody thought that. Everybody
actually pretty good at the end of last year.
Yeah, everybody thought that. If you didn't think that, then you just didn't like Clemson. Everybody thought that.
Yeah. All right. Well, you got to congratulate Rich Rodriguez because he bounced back from a loss to Ohio by winning the backyard brawl. West Virginia came from 10 down in the fourth quarter, then won the game in overtime. This is one of those after they lost to Ohio, you thought, oh, there's no way. But this game always is one of those where you have a chance, even if nobody thinks you have a chance.
And I wanted to personally thank Pitt and West Virginia for not going to multiple overtimes because the number was 58.5 for the under. And it was clearly sailing on the under the entire game. And then it went to overtime and I almost jumped out of my window. But, West Virginia is the prime example here, Andy, of what was true last week isn't true next week. And we got to keep remembering that. And sometimes it is true. Sometimes Clemson carries over that Troy game. Sometimes, Kansas State, we didn't talk about them yet. I didn't believe that they were going to lose to Arizona. That was awful on Friday night. Did you watch that game? I'm sure you did.
I did. It was painful.
What the was that?
Yeah.
And I don't like piling on players. Watching Avery Johnson run that offense was painful.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's another one where we hyped a guy up and not his fault he didn't live up to it. It's our fault that we hyped him up.
So what? No more hyping?
No, we're going to hype. Of course we're going to hype people up. We're just going to be wrong a lot of the time. It's just how it goes.
See, that's another case, though, of he didn't turn into Johnny Manziel. But, I didn't know he was going to be awful. That was an awful performance. And I don't know. And you say, well, Kansas State's got it all in front of them. No, they don't.
No, they don't.
They've got 2 losses in the Big 12 now. They're done. They're cooked.
No, this was not a conference game.
Oh, it wasn't a conference game. That's right. Hey, you're back.
They scheduled it before Arizona was in the conference, and they're like, just keep it.
Yeah.
But do you think now they got a couple weeks off so they can figure it out? But UCF's going to come play them in a couple weeks, and then they go to Baylor. Sawyer Robertson's slicing and dicing people.
Baylor, TCU, Kansas, Texas Tech, all in a row, finishing
Don't
with
like
Utah.
That.
Yeah. No, you know what, man? I'm not doing it. If somebody tells you what they are, believe them. I didn't believe them coming into this week. It cost me my pride and my money, and I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah, I think they've told us who they are, and maybe they can prove it wrong, but I do feel like at this point they have told us who they are. And Iowa
every
State,
coach in the Big 12 thought what we thought.
Right, that's the craziest part. We went to Big 12 Media Days. Brett McMurphy, our colleague, asked every Big 12 coach, Who do you think will be in the championship game? It's an off-the-record question. No names involved. The most common response, because each coach gave 2 schools, and they weren't allowed to name their own. The most common response was Kansas State. It's wild.
By the way, you know what that is? Wild
a sin sign.
Cats. Wild
Oh.
Cats. My boys
Bear
are
down.
back, baby. We're back.
You're
Tucson,
bearing
stand
down
up.
on me.
Yeah, bear down. That was, I know Fafita looked really slippery, really fast, really good. I don't like talking about games and only talking about the loser. Arizona's 3-0, and they got a big win.
A nice bounce back for them. They are in Ames in 2 weeks. So that'll be a tough one. Iowa State, though, they got hell from Butch Jones and the Arkansas State Red Wolves.
20.5 point
It was
favorite.
one of those who scheduled this games.
Yeah.
They show up in Jonesboro, Arkansas.
Yeah, who's the favorite to win the Big 12 right now?
I'd say it's probably Utah or Texas Tech.
Yeah, one of those two. They're favorites. Texas Tech, by the way. I don't know if you've been paying attention. I'm sure you have. This is what you do for a living.
Oregon State, yeah.
They killed Oregon State. 3-0. That's a team with their backs against the wall. And I do love that, like, our breakdowns for our reaction shows on Saturday night, Andy, are going to continue to morph on like what we think is most important, but we're starting to see some buzz at the bottom of the AP poll of teams that are going to start, here are teams that we didn't talk about and probably won't talk about all that much today. Mizzou, Auburn, Indiana, and Illinois play next week. We haven't talked about Illinois and how they beat the crap out of whoever they played today. Who do they play? They played Western Michigan. They won.
They played Western Michigan, and Indiana played Indiana State on Friday night.
So we got Mizzou, Auburn, Indiana, Tech, Utah, Ole Miss, and Iowa State as teams that we hadn't spent much time talking about today. All of those teams are undefeated and might be in the playoff discussion. So we're starting to get you plant the seed in week 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And then as you continue to keep winning, the post-game rundowns will start to focus on some of these teams that maybe aren't getting as much attention right now. But Vanderbilt's another one. We talked about Vanderbilt, but they weren't even in the top 25. So, and I think they're going to be this week. So
another game that was not particularly fun to watch. One, because there was a 3-hour rain delay, or lightning delay, but also because it was USC just grinding out a win against Purdue. But the absolute most fun play of the day was USC's defensive lineman Jamal Jarrett returning an interception, 70 yards for a touchdown. 70 yards. This dude is 360 pounds, and he rumbled 70 yards. And the best part is the Purdue player who tries to be Steve Tasker to this guy's Leon Lett as he gets to the end zone and tries to swat at the ball. And Jamal Jarrett's like, "Get off me!" in the end zone. It was incredible.
Yeah, the Big Ten is kind of humming. I that's another team that is on the bottom. They weren't even in the poll this week. Is USC 33-17 against Purdue? I don't know how much there was to take away from that, but they are 3-0. Have been scoring quite a bit and looked pretty good. We have Illinois winning again. Michigan bounced back. The Big Ten. What about Oregon? Oregon did not give a crap about playing in that Northwestern game today. I watched the whole thing for personal reasons, and they didn't want to be there. And it was never even close. Now, Northwestern scored twice late in the game to torture people who thought Oregon would win by more than 27.5. But the Dante Moore looks good. Oregon's really, really good.
Oh, by the way, did you see our BetMGM Insights email coming into the day?
You mean tonight? Did they send a new one?
No, in the morning. The biggest handle on any game bet this week was the Oregon Northwestern game. Was Oregon minus 28.5. The most money was on Oregon minus 28.5. Those people lost. The casinos win.
Yeah. It was 31-0, and Oregon was in the red zone, and they brought in Austin Novosad, and they kicked a field goal to go up 34-0, and that was when the back door was open, and Northwestern kicked it through by scoring twice. So, but Oregon, again, top 5 team, 34-14 in a game that was just going through the motions. Ohio State was winning 13-3 over Ohio at halftime. They didn't want to play today. They won 37-9. What am I missing here? Is there a Big Ten? Iowa.
I got one for you because it's the one we've been waiting for. Iowa beat UMass 47-7. Congratulations to Kirk Ferentz, the winningest coach in Big Ten history.
Yeah. He's been through the ringer a little bit here the last few years too, and I think it's also like nice to zoom out a little bit from like the recency of what's going on and like honor somebody who has been doing it for a long time and doing it at a high level for a long time. So congratulations to you, Kirk Ferentz in Iowa. That's the longest tenured head coach in college football. And now what's the record? The winningest Big Ten coach of all time.
Yeah.
That's something, man.
It's unbelievable. Think about the other coaches who've been in the Big Ten.
Yeah. And
Woody Hayes, Bo Schembechler, George Perlis, Hayden Fry.
And the question too is
he passed Woody Hayes is who he beat.
Will any coach ever be tenured at their place long enough to break this? Ever again?
We always say no, but I mean, maybe.
Yeah, we always say no. It seems like a hard record to beat. It's a lot of 10-win seasons, a lot of success. Hasn't always been the prettiest thing to watch, but it's effective.
Well, you know what is pretty to watch? The balls thrown by Jaron Chiave Sangapolatelli. I'm going to get it right. Jaron Chiave Sangapolatelli. That's the Cal freshman quarterback. He just put Cal into the lead against Minnesota. They're playing in Berkeley right now. 20 seconds to go in the third quarter. 17-14. Little Big Ten ACC after dark action. Ari, we're not going to make it till the end of that game, at least not on the air. We'll, of course, be watching because we love this stuff. But I want to read this to you before we go, because we started with some apologies and some discussions of quarterbacks who are not living up to their hype. Now let's talk about a guy who is underhyped, who probably deserves all of the praise he's getting right now. This is AggieFootball, Texas A&M official Instagram page. They put up a graphic that said, "Luck ran out to celebrate Texas A&M's win in South Bend." This comment comes from Matthew 22. "Man, oh man, where do I even begin? Marcel," as in Marcel Reed, "you are my everything. The confidence you play with, the way you command the offense, the swagger. When defenses look at you, fear rattles their bones like a cold breeze. When I look at you, I'm mesmerized. I can't describe the happiness you fill me with. When you touch the rock, magic happens. You run, you throw, you do it all. My first son will be named Marcel. The way the ball spirals through the brisk College Station air sends hope to the 12th man. Thank you, Marcel. Keep going. And all of you, keep going.
Was that an erotic
Even if your
novel?
quarterback threw 5 interceptions tonight, just keep going."
Did you get a tinge of sexuality there? I did. Okay, we'll talk to you guys tomorrow.